friends, welcome to another edition of the Get Cyber Smart podcast, your 7 to 10 minute educational look into this crazy thing we call cyber. I'm your host, retired FBI Supervisory Special Agent Darren Mott. And in this episode, we're going to talk about the first step to protecting your kids online, and that is with rules for their social media. So the last several weeks, we've talked about the threats to kids online as they progress through their technology, their online lives, and what you as parents can do to at least understand what those threats are. Now we're going to go into a section of this particular series on the podcast about the rules or some ways that you actively as a parent can help protect your kids online. So the first one we're going to talk about, since I've talked a lot about social media apps, TikTok and Instagram and Snapchat, I haven't really talked about the chat programs yet, but if you want more information on the chat related programs, that'll be in my online educational offering for protecting your kids online, which takes kind of some of these aspects of the podcast and expands them out into a much larger platform or product that you can have at your leisure and view it and get more information from that. So that's coming down the pike. So if you want to be one of the first ones to get that for free, I'm going to give away the first 20 people who send me an email saying you'd like to be part of the Protecting Your Kids Online product review performance, product review platform, I guess, for lack of a better terminology. Just send me an email. My email will be at the end of this particular podcast. But today, I'm going to very briefly talk about the first thing you should do is come up with rules for your kids' social media and actually post them on their social media account so they're aware of what they are. So I did this when my daughter was 14, 15, when she first started getting into social media. She had a cell phone. And so she wanted to be on Facebook. At the time, Facebook was the thing. It's of course moved to other social media platforms now, but that was the big one then. And so what we did was I came up with a set of rules. There's about 10 or 15 of them that had things like, don't say anything abusive, things like that are just general smart things that people shouldn't do when they're online. However, the key one for this particular podcast is 5 rules I've come up with that you as parents can actively use to basically protect your kids, to start protecting your kids as they progress through using social media. So these are 5 quick ones. There's certainly more you can add, but these would be the key ones that would be key to add at the start, basically, and let your kids know that this is what you're doing. So top 5 rules. First one, that you as the parent are the first follower or friend on the account. So this lets anyone who comes on know that your child's parent is on the account, probably monitoring it. So maybe that'll also help others who come onto the account do the right thing as well, not engage in cyberbullying and engage in any kind of cyber predator, any of the threats that we've talked about here throughout this program. Second one, you have the right to remove any post. This is key because if your child or one of their friends posts something objectionable, you don't want that on your kid's social media account. So you as the parent have the right to just basically go in and remove it. You're basically an admin on their social media account. You have to have, I don't have this listed in the list, but it's something you should have. You should have access to their password and login so you can log in and look at it at any time. Again, you're not trying to be big brother to your kid. You're trying to protect them. And because social media is really one of the big vectors by which kids are being targeted these days, it's important and incumbent on you as a parent to have a rule set, to be understanding on the things that can happen on these social media accounts and take steps to at least monitor and keep your kids protected as they transverse through the whole social media platform life. You have the right as the parent to remove followers or friends. Now, if you have someone on there that maybe your kid doesn't know, it's just someone they accept, because obviously a lot of kids like to say, hey, I have 500, I have 1,000 friends, followers on Instagram, whatever. They want to be an influencer. And when they're an adult, if they want to be an influencer when they're adult, they can have as many followers as they want. But as they're living under your house, as they're still adolescents, as their frontal cortex is still forming to make the right decisions, you as the parent have the capability to remove any followers or friends that maybe they don't know, you don't know, or that are problematic on their social media page. Fourth rule, all followers or friends should be personally known by you. Now, this is a hard one. Obviously, if your kid has 200 friends and followers, going through and trying to cull that particular list to figure out if you know everyone may not be the easiest thing in the world to do, but something you should at least actively try to look forward through, because you want to look through that list and see, why is this Russian adult a follower of my kid's Instagram account? Now, maybe your kid posts interesting pictures of cats or something. I don't know. But still, it would be problematic because as friends and followers on their social media platforms, predators have the capability to then communicate with your child, move them to other communication platforms that maybe you're not monitoring, and then bad things can certainly happen. I had certainly many cases when I was in the FBI where this was kind of what happened. Kids who were by themselves, not monitored in their back rooms, became engaged in conversations with people that necessarily weren't looking out for their best interest. And, particularly bad things happened. We had one kid in North Carolina. There was a woman from Alabama who traveled to North Carolina to basically pick up and sexually abuse this 15-year-old boy who really didn't know any better. Fortunately, he was rescued before it got too bad. But certainly that continues to go on today. If anything, it goes on much, much, much greater amount. So as a parent, know who's on your kid's social media. Again, when they're adults, if they want to have 1,000 followers, whatever, that's certainly up to them. They're making their decisions as an adult at that point. Last thing, set the account to private. Makes it very hard for predators to access, get engaged with, start communicating with your child if the account is private. Now, part of that may be incumbent on you as people come in and say, hey, I'd like access to your account, where you have to approve everybody who is actively wanting to be a follower or a friend on your kid's account. Again, it seems like a very light lift from that perspective, and like easy thing you can do as your kid is developing and starting to engage in the online world, to look out for those things, keep them protected. You're certainly, not going to let them walk away with someone in a mall because you don't know who they are. So keep the account private. These again are just simple rules that you can start with now, that you as a parent gives you some control and some protective power over your kids. I'm not saying power in the sense that you're taking over their account, you're just monitoring it and trying to keep them safe. Now, there's other rules you may want to add, again, about what they have the right to say and what they should say and things like that. You can find plenty of those particular rules online if you want to. On my LinkedIn account this week, for What Do You Think Wednesday, I'm actually asking other people to post what are their other rules. So you may want to follow me there to see if there is stuff. I just lost that off of my page here. So if you're watching this on YouTube, so if you're listening to the podcast, you can find a video version of this podcast on my YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and look for Get CyBUr Smart, CYBUR. But if you want to send me emails, if you have thoughts, comments on the podcast, topics for future episodes or future series, really, email me, Darren, DARREN, at thecyberguy.com. You can also, again, go to the YouTube channel and Get CyBUr Smart, or follow me on LinkedIn, linkedin.com/IN/Darren Mott. Darren Mott, spelled DARRENMOTT. With that, thanks again so much, for taking the time to, hold on. Let me start that again. That's supposed to be the intro exit music, and I think I hit 2 buttons at one time. So there you go. That one's a little better. So as you go through your week, understand the threats that are targeting you and your kids. If you do so, you can assess your risk, proceed wisely. Know that knowledge is protection. Provide this information on this podcast to friends and family members you think would benefit from it. Thank you so much for taking the time to download and listen. We'll talk again soon. Stay cyber smart.